Hi, and welcome back to another Random Wednesday Car Conversation. So, you guys, before I jump into my topic for today, I just want to tell you that if you see my face glistening, it's because I am doing this video in the car, hence the name Car Conversation, with the window up because my neighbor across the street is washing his car and he's got his calypso music playing extremely loud. I'm not sure if he's hard of hearing or if he just wants to feel the music. I don't know. However, I did not want his music overtaking my video, so I said, well, I'll have to just keep the windows up. And so, that means that I will not be here long because it's quite hot sitting here with the windows up. So let's jump right on in. So today's video was inspired because over the weekend I was listening to my gospel music like I like to do from time to time. I like all kinds of music. Let's just keep it real. But it was Sunday and I wanted to listen to some gospel music, and I was listening to Marvin Sapp's one of his songs because I love his music, y'all. But I was listening to one of his songs, and I think the name of the song is So Glad I Made It. And I've heard this song so many times that I can't even begin to count and tell you how many times I've listened to it. So it's not a song that I've just started listening to, but you know how you have that moment where you really, really, truly listen to a song. And I mean, this song just, oh my God, it always just almost takes me out every time I hear it. But I just wanted to read to you some of the words to the song. And it simply says, so if you see me cry, it's just a sign that I am still alive. I got some scars, but I'm still alive. Spite of calamity, he still has a plan for me. It's working for my good. Sometimes I don't understand it, but it's working for my good. And, what this made me think about is if I had to give this video a topic, it would be we all have a story. See, you have a story. I have a story. We have a story. But the beauty of it is that our stories are different. Your story is not my story. Mine is not yours. See, I don't know your story, and you don't know my story. Just like we don't know a lot of people's story. But one thing that I can say for sure is that if you're listening to this video or watching this video, you made it. And I'd suspect that some of us, if not all of us, have made it through some rough times in life. We all have had a period in our lives where things got so rough you weren't sure what your next move was going to be. We all been down that road. I've done it too. I'm not perfect, nor am I going to sit here and pretend that I am, because I have had those moments where I had to sit back and go, all right, Lord, what's my next move? What do I do next? Where do I go from here? But the beauty of it is that, God will step in right on time, fill in the gaps when we need him, and he will deliver us from whatever it is that we're going through. And I think the whole thing that I want to bring home to you is that your story is not better than somebody else's, just like somebody else's story is not better than yours. And if you don't have a story, let me say this, keep right on living, because I promise you, you will have a story to tell one day. And it's all right. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. See, I love the fact, well, I can say that now, but at one time I couldn't. I love the fact that I can say that, I have stories, because most of us have more than one. But I have stories, and I think my stories are what made me become the person that I am today. And so I'm thankful for those stories. A lot of times they didn't feel good as I was going through them. But when I look back over my life and I see how far God has brought me, I'm thankful for my stories, because again, they've made me who I am today. So I just wanted to encourage somebody. Like I said, I don't know who this video was for, but it was just, actually, I was going to talk about something completely different, but it was just put on my heart to talk about this because somebody needs to hear that. We all have a story. And no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through, and dare I even say it, no matter what you will go through, you can make it. You've got to, number one, you've got to believe in God. You've got to believe that God is going to deliver you out of that mess, whatever it may be. But then number two, you've got to have a plan Well, let me say this. No, number one, you believe God is going to bring you out of that mess. But number two, you need to pray. And I'm talking about that earnest, get down on your knees with your face to the rising sun kind of prayer. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I mean, you can't play around with this thing, because when you're going through some stuff, you really need to pray. And I'm going to tell you something else before I move on. I am sick and tired of people who will sit and they will pray the roof down on top of your head. But as soon as they get whatever it is that they're looking for, prayer goes out the window. And I'm saying to myself now, if you took the time to sit and pray for whatever it is that you was asking God for, or whatever you were asking God to deliver you from, why not keep it up? I have always been one to pray, and I will say in the last couple of months, I've gotten a lot more serious with my prayer, which is why I created my prayer binder, or my war journal, if you will. And so I've gotten much more serious about my prayer life. But y'all don't just pray and ask God to move on your situation, and then once He moves on, you forget all about Him. Please stop doing that. But I digress. So believe God is going to do it for you. Then I need you to pray about it. And I need you to pray about it the first thing in the morning when you wake up. You after thanking God for waking you up, then you pray about your situation. And then the last thing you do before you go to bed at night, you thank God again for keeping you during the day. And then you pray about your situation. But after you do that, I need you to come up with a plan. Okay? Come up with a plan to fix whatever it is that needs to be fixed. See, I believe that, because here's the problem. And I was listening to Les Brown over the weekend as well, and he said, a lot of times, a lot of times we're praying for God to move on our situations or move in our lives, and it wasn't even Les Brown. I take that back, y'all. It was Steve Harvey, and he was talking about how he would come home from work, and every day he would tell his mom he's saving up money from his check every week because he's going to buy a new car. She said, okay, baby, but you got a car in the driveway sitting on cinder blocks. And he thought it was strange, but every payday he would come home and tell the same thing. And finally he said, Mama, why do you say that every time I say I'm saving up money to get a new car? And she said, baby, I say that because you want God to bless you with a new car. See, his story was that car was no longer working, which is why I was sitting up on the center blocks. And you want God to bless you with a new car, but you don't have room enough to receive it. Come on, somebody. I'm sure you're getting deep now. You're getting deep. Pull it back. Pull it back, because they ain't ready for that. Some of you all are asking God for stuff and you're not ready to receive it. See, because your hands are already full with something else. So, and I know I digressed a little bit as I was talking about everybody having a story, but I actually know this does kind of tie in. As you pray and ask God to move on whatever it is that's going on in your life, make sure you are making room for that blessing, so that once God steps in and fixes that situation, you too can say, I made it. I'm still here. Y'all feel where I'm going with this? So y'all, that's it. That's really all I had. I just thought, like I said, that is such a powerful song. It's such a powerful song, and like you said, if you see me crying, it's just a sign that I'm still alive. And I do have my moments, even as I was listening to this song, that the tears was just rolling down my face. But it wasn't because anything was wrong. It wasn't nothing wrong at all. It's just a sign that I'm alive and I'm thankful. Because sometimes, I think I talked about this before, sometimes you can be so thankful that you just can't even find the words to say. And you just sit and you just rock back and forth. And you just kind of shake your head as you rock back and forth. And you might moan a little bit. God knows what that means. That's just your way of saying, Lord, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for all that you've brought me through. Thank you for all that you kept from coming my way. Y'all, let me stop. Let me stop, because I'm about to shout and get happy up in here. But then I love it when the song goes on to say, I have some scars, but I'm still alive. We all have some scars, and they may not be physical scars that you can see, but a lot of us have some mental scars, but we're still alive. Y'all feel me on that one? Y'all, that's deep. In spite of all the calamity, all that's going on, God has a plan for you, and he has a plan for me. God has a plan for us. But I need you to understand that regardless of what your story is, God still has a plan for us, y'all. I'm trying to tell you that He has a plan. That's just like even with all that's going on right now in the world. You know, we're all aware of the woman in Central Park that called the police on the black man, said that he was she felt frightened when clearly he didn't do anything to make her feel frightened. And now she's all, she apologized, but she's all upset because her life is so turned upside down. I believe she's been fired from her job at the bank. Well, guess what? You brought that on yourself. You shouldn't have picked up the phone and called the police to tell that big bold-faced lie. Then you're choking the dog all up on the phone. Y'all don't get me started into that. But even we saw recently where the police officer, and I just can't even make myself look at that video, y'all. I just cannot. But the police officer has his knee in this man's neck, who is face down on the ground, handcuffed, and telling you he can't breathe. And guess what? That man is no longer here. So he can't say, "So glad I made it," because he's no longer here. And let me move on. Let me move on. But just in spite of those things, in spite of the COVID-19 situation that we're dealing with, we are all going to come out of this and we can all say, "I'm so glad that I made it." If you've made it this far, you better be thanking God and saying, "I'm glad I made it," because you're still here. And like I said, I can't stress enough that it's always a beautiful thing when we can say that God, or when we know. Let me say this: when you show enough know that God has a plan for your life. Because see, I don't know about you, but I know He has a plan for my life. And that's why every day I wake up, I say, "Lord, what is it that you would have me to do?" See, because I also believe that in the midst of all that's going on in this world, I believe that God is trying to get our attention. See, when we weren't able to get out and socialize and have fun and all that other stuff that we like to do when we go out, you had to stay in your house. That was the time that God said, "Okay, now I got your attention. Now maybe you're ready to hear what I've been trying to get you to understand." Again, I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for me. But I'm always asking the question, "Lord, you have I always ask the question, Lord, what is it that you want from me? What is it that you need me to do? What is it that you need me to say?" I pray about the posts that I put up on Facebook every morning, because I want to make sure the posts that I put up add some value, some meaning to other people's lives, because it's not about me. Do I benefit from it? Of course I do. But I want to make sure that somebody else gets something out of that, because you just never know. Again, I don't know other people's story. They don't know mine. But I love it when I post my motivational quotes on Facebook and on Instagram, and people say, "Michelle, you have no idea how much I needed that right now. Thank you so much. Thank you for that reminder," because I don't know their story. So I'm always working on making sure that I am doing God's will and giving back to His people. But then he ends up by saying, "Sometimes I don't understand it, but it's working for my good." So I don't understand why we're going through all this COVID-19. I know you have all these conspiracy theorists that have all of their theories about why all this is happening. I don't know. But what I do know is that God is working it out for my good, even in the midst of all that's going on. So I just wanted to leave that with you today, and I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that something that I said blessed you in such a way that you can, that it'll make you want to keep going forward. Because no matter what's going on in your life, you can't give up. You can't give up. You shouldn't give up. I learned a long time ago, I don't have the luxury of giving up. I can remember being 17 and I'd had my daughter, because she was born in February and I didn't turn 18 until that April, being a young mother with a newborn. But guess what? I knew that I couldn't give up, because I now had somebody, this little person, that was depending on me. So I had to continue to do what I needed to do to make sure I could give her the best life possible. So I had my good government job, and I'm thankful for that, to be able to provide for her. But I have never been one to be able to give up, because I don't have the luxury of doing that. So I just want to encourage you to think the same way. You don't have the luxury of giving up, because somewhere somebody is counting on you to do what you said you were going to do. Somebody somewhere is counting on you to help lift them up when they can't lift their own selves up. Let me stop, y'all, because I'm about to get into a preach here, and I'm hot. So anyway, y'all, that's all I have. That's all I have. That is all I have. Just know that when you can walk around singing, "So glad I made it," you are blessed and highly favored. And don't forget, everybody has a story. I don't know your story. You don't know my story, but we all have a story. And guess what? God is working it out for our good. Thank you so much to my new subscribers. Thank you so much to those of you that continue to support me and all that you do. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I love you all to the moon and back. And y'all know the drill. There's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing, because I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you when you're going up. I'm going to love you when you're coming down. I'm going to love you when you're going in. I'm going to love you when you're coming out. I don't know about you, but I'm so glad I made it. I'm so glad that God continues to work it out for my good. Until next time, take care.